Imagine a world champion struggling so much that he's almost as slow as the class below him. That's exactly what happened to Francesco Bagnaia at the Australian Grand Prix, and it's raising serious questions about his future with Ducati. Bagnaia entered the Australian Grand Prix with a perceived advantage. His teammate, the formidable Marc Marquez, was sidelined due to injury. Many thought this would open the door for Bagnaia to shine. But here's where it gets controversial. Bagnaia himself downplayed the impact of Marquez's absence. He didn't think it would automatically translate into better results for him. While he might not have expected a direct benefit, the removal of a rider with 25 victories this season should have theoretically improved his odds, right? The weekend started with a glimmer of hope as Bagnaia made it into Q2, a feat that hadn't been guaranteed for him this season. However, he was the second slowest rider in that qualifying session. Things went from bad to worse in the sprint race where he plummeted 8 positions, finishing behind Somkiat Chandra, typically the lowest-ranked full-time rider in the MotoGP class. Adding insult to injury, Bagnaia was penalized 3 grid positions for impeding Marco Bezzecchi during qualifying. This was a significant blow. But this became a moot point when he crashed out of the main race, marking his 4th scoreless weekend of 2025 and his 3rd in the last 4 races.
Ouch.
And this is the part most people miss. The sheer scale of Bagnaia's struggles becomes clear when you compare his lap times to those of the Moto2 riders. In the sprint race, Bagnaia only managed to finish ahead of one rider, his own Ducati factory teammate, Michel Pirro, who was filling in for the injured Marquez. The fact that Pirro was only 3 seconds behind Bagnaia is alarming in itself. Over the 13 laps of the sprint, Bagnaia's number 63 bike lost over 32 seconds to the race winner, Bezzecchi. His average lap time hovered around 1 minute and 30.5 seconds. Now, consider this. Senna Agius, in a stunning performance, won his home Moto2 race with an average lap time of 1 minute and 31.3 seconds. That means Bagnaia was only about 0.8 of a second per lap faster than the fastest Moto2 rider. Think about that for a second. A MotoGP world champion, on a top-of-the-line Ducati, was barely faster than a Moto2 rider. Of course, there are some important caveats to consider. Bagnaia was considerably faster in the main race on Sunday before the crash, and Ducati as a whole seemed to struggle at Phillip Island. This explains why their impressive 100% sprint podium record, which dated back to the format's introduction in 2023, came to an end. The conditions may not have suited the bike or the team's setup, but it's still inescapably noteworthy that a 2-time world champion was running at what can only be described as a barely MotoGP pace for a sustained period, especially when he was supposedly giving it his all. For context, Bezzecchi's average lap time was around 1 minute and 28 seconds, indicating a potential deficit of around 3 seconds per lap for Bagnaia under optimal circumstances. The big question now is, what does this mean for Bagnaia's future with Ducati? It's clear that Ducati won't simply accept this level of performance from Bagnaia. While even the best riders can have disastrous weekends, the frequency of these struggles is becoming a concern, potentially damaging the brand's image. It would be naive to think that Ducati isn't at least considering potential replacements for 2027, especially with Bagnaia's contract up for renewal next year. A continuation of the 2025 trends would undoubtedly lead to a reevaluation of their relationship. Indeed, early reports suggest that Pedro Acosta is Ducati's top choice if they decide to bring in a new teammate for Marc Marquez. Fermin Aldeguer, already under contract with Ducati at Gresini, is also reportedly on their radar, along with Moto2 standout David Alonso and Yamaha superstar Fabio Quartararo. The competition is fierce.
So, what do you think?
Is Bagnaia simply having a rough patch, or are these struggles a sign of deeper issues? Is Ducati right to consider potential replacements, or should they stick with their current champion and work through the challenges? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.